Welcome to this explainer. Let's just dive right in, because today we're tackling something that touches pretty much every single one of us: workplace stress. Whether it's those looming deadlines, overflowing inboxes, or honestly, just the heavy mental load of trying to balance your professional and personal life, the tension of the daily grind is a completely universal challenge. But what if the solution wasn't just downloading another time management app or, grabbing an extra shot of espresso? Today, we're unpacking some truly fascinating research that looks at a very specific method for fundamentally rewiring how our minds and bodies process all that stress.
So, it begs the question, how do we really manage stress? I want you to take a second and think about your own typical reactions to a seriously challenging workday. When the pressure mounts, what do? Do you grit your teeth? Do you lose sleep? Maybe you're like me and you hold all that tension right up in your shoulders. So often, our standard coping methods just totally fail us. We try to push through it, or we try to just ignore it, but the underlying physical and mental toll? Yeah, it stays right there. The source material we're exploring today acknowledges just how tough this problem actually is. We need something a lot more profound than a temporary distraction. We literally need a way to manage how stress takes root in our bodies and our minds.
All right, let's get into Section 1, the Scandinavian Corporate Study, Testing Acem Meditation.
So researchers went into Scandinavian companies to look at a very particular practice. It's called Acem Meditation. They wanted to see the exact effects that practicing Acem meditation had on the stress symptoms of everyday employees who are just operating in a normal corporate environment. And this is particularly interesting, right? Because Scandinavian corporate culture is already known globally for prioritizing work-life balance. But hey, even there, stress still creeps in. The whole goal was to take this practice out of the theoretical realm and test it in the actual high-stakes environment of the modern workplace to see if it truly moved the needle on stress management.
Moving right along to Section 2, 6 months to health, proven benefits.
Okay, so what actually happened? Well, the researchers tracked these employees over a period of 6 months, and that's absolutely crucial because it's long enough to see if they actually formed sustainable habits or if they just gave up by week 3. And the benefits? They were undeniable. Among the employees who practiced Acem meditation, they found significantly more successful stress management. We are talking about highly tangible, real-world improvements here. Better sleep at night, less muscular pain carrying over from the workday, a really noticeable reduction in everyday worry, and just an overall greater sense of mental well-being. It wasn't just some isolated area of their lives getting a boost. Acem meditation created a comprehensive upgrade to both their physical and their mental health.
And you guys, the contrast here is incredibly stark. On the one hand, our Acem meditators experienced these marked, undeniable improvements in their stress management. But meanwhile, over in the non-meditating control group, they showed absolutely zero change in their stress symptoms, literally none. They just continued to experience the exact same baseline of workplace stress, the same worry, the same muscular pain. It proves that time alone didn't heal the stress of the workplace. It was the specific, deliberate practice of Acem meditation that actually created these tangible health benefits.
Which brings us to Section 3, Psychological Defenses, Unlocking Mechanisms.
Now, this is where the source material reveals a truly crucial insight. Acem meditation actually moderates the effects of our psychological defense mechanisms. Just think about that for a second. We all have these subconscious reactions, right? These psychological defenses that just automatically flare up when we're stressed or threatened or overwhelmed at work. Well, what the data showed is that practicing Acem meditation plays a direct role in moderating how those defenses actually impact our mental well-being. By basically dialing down those automatic defensive reactions, the employees were able to achieve that highly successful stress management. The meditation was effectively disarming the internal triggers that make workplace stress so damaging in the first place.
Let's wrap things up with Section 4, Maturity and Flexibility, Everyday Applications.
Ultimately, this research translates into a really clear journey of transformation. According to the study, Step 1 is dropping those unnecessary psychological defenses, which actually leads directly into Step 2, a real growth in emotional maturity. Think about it. When you aren't constantly putting up subconscious walls or reacting defensively to workplace pressures, you just mature emotionally. And what does that lead to? Well, that's Step 3. It makes it significantly easier to interact with others. You become a better colleague, a better leader, a better collaborator, all because you can respond far more flexibly to those unpredictable challenges we all encounter at work. Instead of being completely rigid with stress, you become adaptable.
We've covered some remarkable ground in this explainer today, haven't we? Moving all the way from the heavy burden of workplace stress to the proven 6-month benefits of Acem Meditation in Scandinavian companies, and finally into the psychological maturity that comes from moderating our subconscious defenses. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. What unnecessary psychological defenses could you drop today? How much easier could your interactions be? And how much more flexibly could you respond to your very next challenge if you just let those defenses go? Thank you so much for joining me to explore this topic. Keep learning, keep reflecting, and I'll catch you next time.